Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama
అక్కడ గిన్నెలో వేసుకొని గిన్నెలో వేసుకొని ఏ కాదు అక్కడ గిన్నెలో వేసుకొని
ఇంకో ప్లేట్ లో వేసి
Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuda Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Bhaktavenda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Bhaktavenda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Om Vishnu Bhad Paramam Suparivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shata Nitya Leela Pravishta His Divine Grace Abhay Chana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBD Founder Acharya Param Gurudev Srila Prabhupada Ki Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatim Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So, discussion on Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 29th chapter, text 1 and 2. Just in a nutshell, about what happened before this chapter, about the allegorical story of Puranjana and subsequent reflections of the great king Prācīnabarhi, what he did after that. Krishna consciousness is all about hearing from the right source and after hearing reflections on those understandings is equally important. So Bhagavatam, whenever Bhagavatam is spoken, there are people who are sitting around, we can see them, some people we don't see also. So Bhagavatam is like that. Even if there are so many animals around or organism where they too get benefit from hearing. So Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya is nothing but constantly meditating on the instructions of the Bhagavatas and also acting according to those instructions. So this is, both are, faces of a coin. Cannot be separated out. Either way. Real study of life begins of Atma Vijnana when we hear from the right source, right scriptures, and the audience get qualified when they sincerely follow those instructions. So just when Nārada Muni is relating this story of Puranjan in a nutshell, what did Puranjan had? He had a best friend and confidant by the name Avignayat. So when we going through this, all of us can put ourselves in Puranjana's role. We are also wondering, we are also got a body, so we are also acting. So it is not that we are discussing about him, but you can relate it with our own life. Each one's life can be related. Okay, how is our journey? Where are we going? So this is the dual aspect of spiritual life. We hear and we introspect also. Where are we standing? So it gives you a benchmark of where exactly you are also there. It is not that we hear the story and we just go. So we hear at the same time, it sets the parameters. Oh my God, what is my sense organs are doing it? What is my thinking capacity? Where am I wandering? Is my direction is correct or not? So these are all the revelations when exalted acharyas, where Sukadeva Goswami is speaking, so many people around the world, they came and started listening to him. It was not the person which mattered, what he was speaking mattered a lot. So they did not think he's a young boy who is giving class and we are all soul people, we already realized. So this ambiguity was never there. So when we come into the Bhagavatam class, we should come with an identity, what I'm going to listen, what I'm going to reflect, how I'm going to act. This is a constant endeavor for our progress. When you have money, if you want to invest in business, our Prabhuji is a financial advisor. Anirudh Prabhu, you ask him, he knows how to spend your money or how to earn the money. In the same way, when we are with spiritualists, the maximum effort should be put is how much I can absorb. Prabhu was talking about Krishna consciousness is all about not just hearing, absorption. So if you are not going to invest your money in the proper direction, then what happens? There'll be a great loss. The same way, human life with this body is nothing but a great investment program. If you don't invest properly, then you're finished. Sine punya mrityu lokam vishanti. That means the moment you're finished, we don't know which body we're going to get. That's what it says, the Bhagavatam. First loka and the second says, how many types of jivas are there? So here, Avignat is thus named because no one can know about him what he did. They were always happy together in a stage of eternal bliss. However, in course of time, Puranjana forgot about his best friend, wandered away from the wisdom that his friend often used to offer him. In this way, Puranjana came to a beautiful city of 9 entrances of Namadwarapuri. He was mesmerized by the beauty of this place and wandered into it. In this city, his eyes fell on a beautiful young maiden who was guarded by the 5-hooded serpent and 11 bodyguards. So if, let us assume, a person gets to go to America with a passport, with a visa, immigration, the moment he lands up in America, he gets bewildered. The fact of the matter, people who have gone there, talk to them, they don't want to come back. They are bewildered. If the external Maya can bewilder people, but if you become devotee, and if you're going to the spiritual aspect, what Prabhupada explains, what is exactly going on, what happens to us? So everything is a reflection in the material world, as Krishna explains that the tree, Ashwatthama, what is that? People tree, which is rivers. But we do experience this, but it doesn't, affect our heart because it's in the mental status. So if you go to the Puranjana's allegorical story, first think of the day you got a job. You are given the, what is that? Joining appointment letter. My God, so many things comes into your mind. I have to do this, I have to do this. You're already planning out everything, right? So because that end aspect, what is the salary slip which is there, that attracts you. So the whole of material world is about how much I can grab, how much will I get, and that reflects on how much I can enjoy, right? So this Puranjana story, the more you read about it, it's our own life, our own experience. It's a flashback. Just go back and reverse. Oh, what happened to me? That's how Krishna conscious, how Prabhupada, talks about all this and explains why we are wasting our time. So although he was initially hesitant by the beauty of the girl, but gradually he fell in love with her. The woman introduced herself as Puranjani, and together Puranjana and Puranjani enjoyed the pleasures of the beautiful city, completely unaware of the fact enemy by the name Kala was attacking the fort. They were thinking they were happily in the life, but as the time progressed, Kala sets his eyes on Navadwarapuri and attacked it. In this battle, Chud Puranjana died, all the while thinking of Puranjani. Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is that summary of what has happened. So each of us thinking about where we are today, we have passed through all these stages. What do you say, Vittal Rao? That's why you landed up in ISKCON and you residing here. A very good example. So the point Srila Prabhupada is making, the ultimate aim for all of us is to be following Vittal Rao. He has a beautiful wife, beautiful daughters, but still he's sitting here. I don't know the secret, please ask him. So it is something which is more attractive here, that he goes only once there and 6 days is here. Phalena parichayate. Go and talk to them. What is that which is making them stay here? What is making our wonderful brahmacharis here? Go and talk to them. Why we are not able to do that? Why they are able to do that? So they've understood the secret of business with this body. You understand? So there are ups and downs. I'm not putting anybody up and down in that way, but there is something which I'm not able to relish the way they are relishing. So Bhagavatam comes to that platform where everybody can come to that through the heart. Whether you are at home, whether your temple, whether in your office, the consciousness can be of Bhagavat Sevaya. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as I understand, that is a court where a lawyer is coming and presenting the facts to a judge who is sitting. The irony is the judge himself is a culprit. He himself is the culprit. So judge has to judge himself so that he reforms himself. Usually what happens? There's a culprit who is standing out there. The judge is there. The lawyer is here who is trying to plead for the sake of that culprit. But if you see, look at this, is you have to put yourself in that place. You have to judge yourself to find out where you are. And Acharya takes that place of a lawyer, and Bhagavatam is all about that. When he comes and speaks about these things, he is making the audience the judges. You can judge yourself where you are and make progress. Is it not? Every time we sit in the class, what a wonderful class Prabhuji gave Sunday. He was trying to talk about absorption, really hit the mind. So absorption, so just like this sadhu sangha is so important. When realized devotees come and share their thought process, this thought provoking. You should always be very attentive. And that moment of association with extraordinary people just gives us that, that lift. So coming to this first aspect of 4th canto, 29 chapter, 1st verse. Bhagavan Prācīnabarhi uvacha Bhagavan te vacho smri mibhir na samyog avagha myate kavayastad vijinananti na vayam karma mohitaha. We can try. Prācīnabarhi uvacha Bhagavan te vacho smabhir na samyag avagamyate Savaya tad vijinanati na vayam karma mohitaha. Verse number first 429:1. Oh, is something else? This is what was given to me. 1 and 2. Now go ahead. So Prācīnabarhi uvacha. King Prācīnabarhi said, Bhagavan, O my Lord, your vachaha, word, asmavi, by us, na, never, samyak, perfectly, avagamyate, are understood, kavayaha, those who are expert, that, vijanananti, can understand, na, never, vayam, we, karma, by fruitive activities, mohitaha, enchanted. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. King Prācīnabarhi replied, my dear Lord, we could not appreciate completely the purport of your allegorical story of King Puranjana. Actually, those who are perfect in spiritual knowledge can understand. But for us, who are overly attached to the fruitive activities, to realize the purpose of your story is very difficult. Kindly repeat responsibly. King Prācīnabarhi replied, my dear Lord, we could not appreciate completely the purport of your allegorical story of King Puranjana. Actually, those who are perfect in spiritual knowledge can understand. But for us, who are overly attached to the fruitive activities, to realize the purpose of your story is very difficult. Purport. Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita 7.13, Lord Krishna says, Traibir gunamayir bhaveyebi sarvam idam jagat mohitam nabi jananti mama ebhya paramam avyayam. They are deluded by 3 modes of goodness, passion and ignorance. The whole world does not know me, who I am above all the modes and inexhaustible. Generally, people are enchanted by the three modes of material nature, therefore practically unable to understand behind the materialistic activities in the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Generally, when people are engaged in sinful or pious activities, they are not perfect in the knowledge of devotional service. The allegorical story narrated by Nārada Muni to King Bharishman is especially meant to engage conditioned souls in devotional service. The entire story, narrated allegorically, is easily understood by a person in devotional service, but those who are engaged not in devotional service, but in sense gratification, cannot perfectly understand it. That is admitted by King Bharishman. So the point Srila Prabhupada is making is very clear, is, as I started in the beginning, that when we come to the Bhagavatam class, is we have to look for what is that which will benefit for my progress. It keeps adding. Today one sloka, it adds up. So it goes on adding. There is no subtraction. So it is necessary for us to make sure when we are climbing up, how firmly we put our steps. Very important point, the king himself is admitting, I am an ordinary person. So this is very difficult in the material world. They always think they are puffed up, they are the biggest, they are more proud about all this. But the king, he says, I can't understand what you are telling, my Lord. So many times we do these things, but still we forget that we are not Lord. What do you say? We always think we are Lord. But here the Lord himself is talking about King Prācīnabarhi that, I don't know anything. So ignorance is bliss in Krishna consciousness. Because why I'm talking about ignorance of material life, when you become ignorance there, then spiritual life takes up. If material things are there fully in the mind, it will not allow the spirituality to go there. So somebody has to make sure that you become ignorant of this Maya from outside. That's why it's talking about three aspects. Now why Prācīnabarhi? So that's an important point where Nārada Muni is talking, why he came to him? Because he was too much engrossed in pious activities. So many times we see many people, like very nice gentlemen, most of the time they are opening hospitals. They are trying to help the downtrodden. That's a good thing. But that's not the highest. So a person who takes up the Krishna consciousness comes to this point where Krishna is telling, raise above the three modes of material nature. Comes to Shuddha Sattva. So it is not that what you have as a gentleman earned in your consciousness, it not get unwinded, it becomes super consciousness. That means whatever is there as goodness becomes super goodness when we associate with devotees or when we associate with Shastra. That's all. So a gentleman and super gentleman. So this is how the transition takes place. It's not that whatever we are doing today, ISKCON is establishing its fact with different areas it's going, apart from what Prabhupada gave instructions. We have hospitals, we have schools, so many things are coming. But behind all this, there is Krishna there. A person who comes to our school, not only he learns how to live in this world, how to face this world, but he also learned how to face the way Krishna wants, how the way the Guru wants. So this is the transition. Our food, which is without salt, just like adding the salt into the food becomes tasty. So life of Krishna consciousness is material consciousness added. When Krishna is added, it becomes Krishna consciousness. So this is our constant endeavor. The more we add the Krishna into our life, the more it becomes tastier. The more it becomes, the mind opens up. The more intelligence becomes better. So every aspect of our sense organs becomes purified. So everything what we earn in the material world, you will see from Krishna conscious point of view. How can I earn this money? How can I engage people around me? How can I engage my children? How can I engage my the country? So everything goes by the aspect what Krishna wants. So that is the difference between the Pancha Pandavas or the Kauravas. Everything they were seeing in the perspective of what Krishna wants. So in this way, ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada, he gives the same understanding for all of us to see this world as Krishna wants, as Prabhupada saw. As Prabhupada, how did he see? He saw this world as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw. It's very easy to understand, but to practice, it could be a little difficult. But when you understand the goal of life, this is the only way. You have no other goal. Whether you like the job or not, the salary pay is attracting you. Oh, that money is there. I'm okay. You're ready to do anything. In the same way, if goal of life for us is fixed up, then you will do everything what Krishna wants. Because you know that anything you do apart from Krishna consciousness is detrimental to our life. Yeah, we may now and then stumble upon, but because of Guru, we again stand back. Okay, I made a mistake, but we come back. So, so these cautious steps is taught by our spiritual master through his instructions, through his understanding, and through his practices. So here, Prācīnabarhi, he is admitting to Nārada Muni that thank God you came. So in the same way, you have to thank Krishna. Prabhupada is in our lives. You have to thank Krishna, so many Vaishnavas in our life. We have to thank such a beautiful environmental Krishna has given in this mundane world. What can you expect in a jail, you know? Everybody is wearing the same kind of dress. Everybody gets the same kind of food. So all are chores only. But in that process, we get a hope that the warden is recognizing you. Oh, he's a systematic, sensitive, disciplined person. He says, okay. Every year, the government, he says, they write a letter to the, what is that? The superintendent of jail. Is there anybody you want to get them out? And that's the way Acharya is. He makes sure that how many are, out. So Srila Prabhupada has a big heart. He went all around the world opening his ISKCON center. So this is the place where you get that chit, where you can say, oh yes, he can go like this. But admitting the fact about what you know, what you don't know is very, very important. So here, that is how it is prashchita, paschatapa. This is our life. These are the two ingredients where it makes us progress in spiritual life. When you atonement of you looking at what mistakes you made, and that which you make progress, that is very, very important. These two aspects. When you feel, yes, I made a mistake. So what is the remedy for that mistake? Is your atonement. So these two are the twin brothers, where when we embed them, then our life is perfect. So here, admitting this fact is the highlight of what Prācīnabarhi is speaking about. So, continuing in that, now what does he say? Because the king took charge. What is this king? Why did Nārada Muni take this step of coming to Prācīnabarhi? He is coming, and it says here, because he was coming in the parampara of monarchical hierarchy was Maharaj Dhruva. So another important point is, you will come to know whose parampara you are in. So sometimes there is bewilderment in the parampara, you may go here and there, but the parampara protects us. That's why parampara is very, very important for us. If there is some aberration, no problem, somebody else will come and protect us. So here is that pramana. So Maharaj Dhruva, a great devotee of Lord, most celebrated disciple of Nārada Muni. King Prācīnabarhi was thus too much engaged in fruitive activities by performing different types of yajna. So in the purport what he is talking about is that Maharaj Dhruva, in the same way we have Prahlad Maharaj also. So whoever is coming in that parampara have that, that ticket of going back, influential ticket. In case if we have gone some aberrations in our life, it gets corrected. It gets corrected. So that continuous faith in our words of the Acharya and also following that instructions, it is very, very important. So this story of this Puranjana actually helps us. So there is another place where Krishna is talking about in the fourth cut. I'll just go to that later. Now we will go to that Gita sloka where what Krishna is talking of, Bohuna mi gatitani janmani tava Arjuna, tani aham veda sarvani natvam vitta param tapa. The personality of God had said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. O subduer of enemy. Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport. It's related with this. Attentively here. Devotees like Arjuna are constant companion of the Lord. And wherever the Lord incarnates, the associates of devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. So Arjuna is one of these devotees. In this verse is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to sun god Vivashwan, Arjuna in different capacity was also present there. So if there is any chance that we are all sitting here, maybe somewhere we are sitting somewhere at some life. Because you also know, you don't know when you actually came to this material world, how many lives we have taken. It's all there here. So that is the difference between partial living entity, the Supreme Lord. Although Arjuna is addressed here as a mighty hero who could subdue enemies, he is unable to recall what has happened in previous past births. So if you think that, oh, can I by chance know what has happened? I'll tell you, don't even think of it. Your life will become miserable. Don't ever think what you are. That is why we forget the day we take birth, everything is gone. Imagine having one life, so many people around, and suddenly you remember your previous life. What will happen? Your life you become a madman, right? That if you go to this Nimans, there's a ward where all people who are not able to control their mind and goes, you can go and see each one will be doing one particular activity that they will tell, I am the Prime Minister, I will so and so, something and all they will be doing. So you have to go Pratyaksha Praman. I've gone once, but I don't want to go again. Better to be here. So you just go to this, if you want to see difficulties of people who are mad, people who are burned, burning, who have got burned the body. If you go all these places, I will tell you, you don't have to go to a different naraka. Everything is here. So an intelligent person thinks that he need not experience. I can know if he is suffering. Oh, thank God. Let me go from there. So the point what Srila Prabhupada is making is that you may be very intelligent. So Arjuna is very intelligent, subdue, but still he could not remember his previous life. Therefore, any living entity, however great champion he may be in material estimation, he can never be equal to Supreme Lord. Anyone who is constant company of Lord certainly is liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. Although Arjuna is a great devotee of Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada is making this. But the divine grace, a devotee can once be infallible condition when he becomes associated with devotees. So he reclaims that. Whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand that transcendental nature. So this rebirth is a very debatable stuff. It's happening time immemorial. Whether it is for scientists or philosophers. But our Krishna conscious movement is very, very straightforward. They don't have to go roundabout. But Gita explains everything. Krishna explains everything. What is rebirth? How you're going to take it? Karmana, Deva, Netrana clearly explains everything. But they are like bees who always go outside the bottle and try to nick. They want to explore this world by their own endeavor. This is very dangerous. That is why you can't find many devotees in this world. Because they like to exercise their free will in a way where they think they are the Lords. So the moment you think you are the Lord, you don't accept anybody else. That, okay, whatever I do, whatever, that is how the mood of the scientists. They are so much puffed up in their research understanding. And finally, their research paper, when it comes out, he'll not be their own. Because throughout life, they have done the research. And the conclusion is zero. But the same scientist takes up Bhagavad Gita, everything he will know. Transmigration of the soul, they will go see the through microscope and what is happening in the mother's womb, everything will come out. But ultimately, they don't understand how is this transformation happening. They don't know at all. The first aspect of how the seed, how a mother becomes a pregnant, they don't know only. So they are doing research in between. And the end comes before they come to a conclusion. So this is the fact in the material world where when you think you're the Lord, you go to all the PhD students and all, talk to them, doctor so and so, so and so. They don't have time to talk to you also. Only talk about my subject matter, you'll say. If he's a biochemist, you will say only talk about the nothing here, because their mind is so focused on that only. There's so much. There are cases where people have lost life because the conclusion they cannot come. So Srila Prabhupada was talking about life come from life. So difficult to understand. So simple for us. But science is very difficult for, that's why that book, Life Comes from Life, bewildered so many people and they became devotees. So the birth happens to the soul, keeps continuously happening till it gets freedom from this world. So that is what explained in Bhagavad Gita, till it surrenders. Yam yam vapis paran bhavan. So allegorical story of Puranjana is what is happening. It is showing you at the time of death, what is he thinking? He is thinking about his wife. So he was born as a wife, a lady in the next life. So consciousness is very clear that what he was thinking, same thing is happening. Many times, all of us must have experienced in your dreams. Many times you think of certain things. For a period of time, same thing come in our dream. So what is that? What is that which is happening, which is subtle? But still it keeps remembering, but nothing to do with the body. But it keeps coming in the mind. Okay, this has happened, that has happened, that is happening. So when you get up, you awaken. That means you. So if you constantly meditate on something, it is bound to come to your mind in the sleep also. Because it is a subtlety which is connecting with you. Anything for that matter. Spiritually also. If you are too much thinking of certain things of an activity, whether it is the kitchen, whether it is the you're organizing a festival, many times in the sleep, all these things come up. What's going to happen? When you get up, oh my God. So that happens. So there is pratyaksha praman of our own experience that when you constantly think of something, it's bound to come to our mind. Is it not? So that is the same case here, that he continuously is thinking of something which is there. So what's the difficulty in understanding that it is scientifically you have to do research? Well, what is the necessary to do research? It's happening, you're experiencing it. So two examples which is there are about earlier time where a young boy suddenly knew so many foreign languages. They did research. 7-year-old boy, he could, he has not gone to that country, but he knows that language. And another case, these two things, I got it from the Reincarnation Institute, which is there in Bangalore. They are doing research, not on karmana, but they have done on their own. But their conclusion is, yes, there is rebirth. They have done this research. In that, I picked up one, which is talking about, which they have the proof in that newspaper, what happened in 84. And another thing is they are showing is another girl who could, recognize anything to do with knife. So anything she sees with knife, she starts operating. So they proved to be, she could be a doctor. So this is what scientifically it's there in the newspaper. It is there. 7, 8-year-old girl operates. So why do we have to go? Krishna is telling everything in Bhagavad Gita. There is life before, there is life after. Whatever you are thinking at the time of death, you are going to become like that. So all this is there, but still people don't. Beautiful sloka from Bhagavatam, 33rd canto, 30th chapter, 9th verse. Kapil Deva talks about the fruitive activities. He says, Graheshu kuta dharmeshu dukkha tantreshu athendritiha kurvan dukkha pratikaram sukham manyate grahi. The attached householder remains in his family life, which is full of diplomacy and politics. Who can say you're not diplomatic in your life, in your house? Manipulation goes on. You tell lies. You manipulate outside. So this is all there in the Bhagavatam. Kapil Muni is talking to his mother, full of diplomacy, hypocrisy. So many things happen. So always spreading miseries controlled by sense gratification. He acts, that the jiva acts. He acts and counteracts reaction of all his miseries. And if he can successfully counteract such miseries, he thinks that he is happy. Now he thinks he solves all this life. Everything is okay. Now he thinks, okay, everything is solved. Let us say he goes to the court. His property is in litigation. And finally he wins the case. By the time he wins the case, 25 years gone. He doesn't realize that. And he says very, very happy. In another 5 years, this guy can't even enjoy that. It's happening with us also. Hare Krishna, 20 years gone. We are fighting case. We are fighting case. Maybe it's dharma and things like that. But practically, if you speak, if you see what Kapila Muni is speaking about here is how much of true we are going after sense gratification. Okay, tomorrow I'll be happy. Oh, this much money comes, I'll be happy. If I have a son, I will be happy. If I have a daughter, I will be happy. If I have a house, I will be happy. If I have one more house, I'll be more happy. My God, this illusion goes on and on. But Srila Prabhupada also thought the same way. He also wanted more temples. What is the difference between our houses and his houses? Krishna is the difference. Because Krishna always lives in that house. Wherever Prabhupada builds, Krishna is permanently there. But wherever we build the house, we will also not stay there. What is that? So this naked truth from the Bhagavatam is actually, you can relish it because you have to laugh for yourself. You're trapped there. Whenever you're going through the Bhagavatam, because you think it is for others, you don't laugh. You laugh for others. But this Bhagavatam is meant for us. You have to look at that and see, where am I standing? Mirror is Bhagavatam. Please first think about yourself. Where are you located? Then think about others. Krishna will take care of others. You're only bothered of taking care of others. Why don't you take care of yourself also along with them? So this is where we are misled by Maya. He comes and says, hey, don't be selfish. Take care of your family. That's how Maya comes and tells. But Krishna comes and says, okay, take care of them. Take care of yourself also. So this is what we forget. This moha, which is the external aspect, goes through our family, bandhu, karma bandhus. People who are related with all this karma are all around us. Whether it is country, whether it is our own world, we fall a trap and we always trying to protect it, and it's not possible. If you see today, so much of anxiety in our borders. But we are chanting Hare Krishna, nicely doing Krishna Prasadam and Hari Bol we are doing everywhere. But what about the world outside? They are in a pathetic condition because they don't know about how Krishna is controlling the whole world. Huh? Just because somebody is an atheist, Krishna doesn't leave them off. Well, you'll work through them also. Krishna is the only person who can engage everybody. You're bad or good, he engages. Either through karma or through gnana or through bhakti. If it is bhakti, it has to be Prabhupada. Because he made it so simple. He made all our life doubt every activity can be Krishna consciousness and you still can go back to Godhead. Nobody can say that. That only Prabhupada was talking about. Back to Godhead. Back to Godhead. This is such a coin of word. Really, people are bewildered. What is this back to Godhead? Because they don't know God. But when they understand that, they think of back home, it's okay. I want to go home. Back to Godhead means very difficult. So Srila Prabhupada, when he brought these magazines, it really touched so many people's heart. So in that, Prabhupada writes the purport, such an important purport. You just see, in Bhagavad Gita, the personality himself certifies. Just tell me, 8, something like that, I have to stop. In Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead himself certifies material world as an impermanent place is full of miseries. There is no question of happiness in this world, either individually, look at this, either individually or in terms of family or society or country. If someone is going on in the name of happiness, that is also illusion. Here in this material world, happiness means successful counteraction to the effects of distress. Material world is so made, unless one becomes a clever diplomat, his life is a failure. Not to speak of human society, every society of lower animals, birds, bees, cleverly manages bodily demands by eating, sleeping, and mating. But human society competes nationally and individually, and it's an attempt successful. Entire human society become full of diplomacy. We should always remember, in spite of diplomacy and intelligence in the struggle for our existence, everything will depend on the supreme will. So therefore, all attempts to become happy in this world are simply disillusion offered by Maya. The living entity considered the mere absence of distress to be bliss. So you think today we have solved the problem, but it is a temporary aspect. There's some other problems going to come up. So he says, that's why spiritual, real happiness cannot be found in this world. It is but a lie in sense gratification. So I just take 5 minutes because they told me 8:50 I have to stop. So the ideas of the soul of incarnation is amazing to everyone. Ashcharyam. Some people believe it, there is reincarnation, some others think there is no such thing. So this bewilderment is going. So how to come about is the only solution is a person who takes up to and associates with the devotee. Not just Bhagavad Gita. You may give Bhagavad Gita, but you should also give the Bhagavad Gita person who understands the Bhagavad Gita. Because millions of Bhagavad Gita are there with everybody. But unless they associate with the person who understands that Gita, then he makes progress. So otherwise, it's again a bewilderment. So when we are distributing so much of Bhagavad Gita, it's all very nice. So many other Bhagavad Gita are also going. But how many people are becoming devotees? But the first step is that they have the Bhagavad Gita as it is in their hand. It's a matter of time because Prabhupada has been blessed by Krishna. So wherever Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita goes, then Krishna follows. Somewhere some devotee will come. Oh, I too have Bhagavad Gita. And that's how his progress starts. So in this regard, they gave me 2 slokas. So I'll end up with this sloka itself. That it is very, very difficult in this world if you don't have a nice guru in our life. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. Next he says, doesn't say Guru Devo Bhava. Acharya Devo Bhava. Acharya means one who follows. He is not just a guru. Guru can be many. But Acharya is one who follows what is prescribed. But these words which is coming, it's coming from the Vedas. When you say Veda is referred to as the mother. And Acharya is representative of Krishna or Krishna himself, both. So when we go through this, certainly victory is there. So the fight of consciousness is there, is between mind and yourself, intelligence. So when the fight is within the body, externally, what is the use of fighting so much? When the enemy is sitting off inside, so your external fight is useless. So first we have to find that tool which we can conquer these senses. So conquering the senses, controlling the mind is great endeavor, and through bhakti process it becomes easiest way to conquer. So as Arjuna says, very difficult for a sadhana like me to get that. Krishna says, no problem, you practice it. That's why sadhana bhakti is very important for us. Whatever you read a little bit, go deeper, try to understand, and you make the next progress. Don't read just to read it. See what is that you can pick it up and practice in our life. In this way, you will come to the right understanding, and the next step is nothing but the lotus feet of Krishna. We came just by our ego, we rejected the lotus feet of Lord. Now, accepting the fact that yes, I did this mistake, and surrendering to the representative, bona fide representative of Krishna, we can get back that. So this is all nothing but Krishna conscious movement is helping all the people around the world to go back to the spiritual realm and enjoy coming out of this dualities of hypocrisy, what not is there in this world. But for a devotee, he has to become very cool, calm, patient, and sincere with integrity, follow the instructions of Guru and make our life success. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please forgive me, I could not go to the next sloka because Kala runs. Hare Krishna. Any comments from there? From this? Questions, comments, reflections? You can ask. Because they asked me to address them. So first priority we give them.
If devotees have any questions, they can ask.
Reflections.
Devotees, yes. Devotees from Zoom, if they have any reflections, comments, questions, they can ask. You can put in chat.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandas pranams, Prabhu. So this was a very wonderful lecture, very eye-opener. So nicely, the allegory is compared. And there are so many takeaways for me. So thank you, Prabhuji, for that. Very nice.
Okay, anybody have? Yes, Lord Chandra Gopinath, what do you have to add? A lot of takeaways, a lot of points.
I will use this, but after that you put through another point, so it's
Oh my God, I have to be slow, but they're giving me time.
yes, a lot of things to deliberate on this things. It's really practical. Bhagavatam is practical, and also you told the example of mirror. Every time when you sit in the Bhagavatam class, how to evaluate yourself to see how to improve. That's the main thing. It is for our own benefit, Bhagavatam. So yes, thank you so much.
Yes, Anirudh Prabhuji. Expert comments.
Hare Krishna. So even as far as our own material life is concerned, also, I mean, when we start off, education and within the family, as long as we are under the care and guidance of the parents, we have nothing to worry. Everything is going fine. But moment we try, I mean, we come to a stage where we think that, okay, I'm the doer, I have to earn. The moment that cutoff is there between the family, the parents, and that shelter, then immediately the material world puts so much of test that we cannot imagine. So this is a very, very realistic stage. But at the same time, like you're mentioning about how the devotees have to be grounded, and take the shelter of the holy name, the spiritual activities, and Krishna's so many unlimited manifestations, then we'll probably come to understand that there is some sublime, there is a sublime activity, sublime thing is there, and that is how we keep getting attracted. So this is a very, very important thing. I mean, like what I'm trying to say is that the Maya is throwing a test every day, every moment. So we have to be very cautious about that. Like Prabhu also was mentioning that we have to be introspecting, and then we can make some progress. And of course, there's, we have the association, devotees, everything Prabhupada has given. So now we have to take advantage of that and then do this on a very, like he was also mentioning about the individual level and a collective level. That's what came to my mind, that everything almost we're always trying to do on an individual level. Of course, we also falter, it's not the thing, but if somebody is there as a holding hand, somebody is there to support, it's always a better deal for you. And collectively also we have to progress. So we have to take this as a our like a biblical path, and then progress. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thanks, Prabhu, for the wonderful lesson and aspects that you gave today. Hari Bol.
What about Brahmanas? What do you have to add? Corrections?
Telling about the reincarnation, the message, it's so important, but people don't know, many of them. And I'm surprised that you mentioned there is a reincarnation institute in.
Pardon?
You mentioned there is a reincarnation institute in Bangalore.
Yes.
I'm surprised because only devotees talk about it, but even outside people doing this. Where is that?
I'll give you the details. In fact, there was one institute opposite to mental hospital here, Wilson, Immense. Opposite, there is one more research where me and Radha Gopinath Prabhu had gone, where they are also doing research that some comparison is there. Not that they are believers of God, but they do understand there is reincarnation, but you can easily connect them together. So we gave a Bhagavad Gita to that lady and came back. He says, you are doing so much research, but this will give you, more insight and Krishna like that. So this is one institute which is there. The other one, I'll give you the details. They have done extensive research in that. They have got so many, this allegorical story which is there. They have plenty, which is real. Another point is, you all have to understand this reincarnation aspect. He is giving allegorical story, but if you see Bhagavatam, if you see Bharat Maharaj, how many lives he took? So there is whether if you take Vidura's life, what was he before? What was Bhishma before? So everybody is reincarnated. And if you take Chaitanya Charitamrita also, everybody is reincarnated. Now, whether they are reincarnated by the force of karma or Krishna's order, that you have to understand. That you have to, suddenly you can't say, why did Bhishma come because of karma? That may not be there. But they might have come on the will of the Lord. So even if you see from Ramayana, you see all these people were exalted people, all the Vanaras, they all came. So they were all there with us. So there are, because of this, and another aspect of also, if you see the Ashwini Kumaras, what happened to them? They became, actually my second part was that only. That sloka which talks about the two-legged animal, four-legged animal. I was going to talk about Gajendra. From he became human life, he became an elephant. So this will happen up and down. So the point is, many people are doing research. When we come and in close touch with them, they may open out. So then they understand, okay, law of karma is that. They don't know how the soul comes into the mother's womb. That they cannot understand. But certainly they have done research on people, how they behave a little differently from than usual. Even Back to Godhead, earlier Back to Godhead magazine carried many reincarnation, stories, which is all real. They did research. So in this way, that is all fine. But the thing is, you have reincarnated, there is no doubt about it. But you have reincarnated in Prabhupada's family. Better encash it. Is it not? Yes, Swayam Prakash Prabhu.
The whole discussion by mentioning that how unless we contemplate or look into our own life, then we don't move ahead where I am currently, and then what things are going on. Otherwise the days may keep passing and we stuck up there only doing the same thing. So, and also you're telling that how Bhagavatam is not just seeing Puranjana was also doing that. Oh, he was thinking, okay, I'm hearing a nice story. And at the end he realized that, oh, no, it is for myself, like Nārada is telling. The same way the acharyas and the spiritual masters, they keep telling the Bhagavatam, everything, it is not just to hear and just listen, but to make us understand that it is about us. The Bhagavatam is telling that all the things, so that I can improve, and then Lord wants me to go back to the spiritual world, hearing that, and like making ourselves, trying to improve ourselves.
The Prabhu also made a comment, made a statement in that. He says, Bhagavatam is more about hearing and absorption. More than the speaker, the beneficiary is the hearer. What matter came out, it affected on Parikshit Maharaj. So when you come to your class, you are important more than the speaker, Baba. Because how much you absorb, that matters now. Is it not? Yes. Anybody else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. As you said that any kind of happiness in this material world is just an illusion offered by Maya. So my question is, we do feel some spiritual bliss in executing this devotional service. So is it also bewilderment from Maya, or is it that really we are getting the bliss from the Supreme Lord?
If I understand properly, your question is, in spiritual life, when bliss or happiness comes, is also on the mundane platform? Certainly no, it is not. But if you think you are the cause for that happiness, that is mundane. If the cause is from the spiritual master, that's not an issue. But if you think you are the doer there, I have done all this, then we are finished. So today, whatever we are seeing, the external manifestation of ISKCON growth is Prabhupada's mercy. So we are becoming the instrument. So Krishna glorifies you. Don't have to worry. You don't have to glorify yourself. It's always better somebody glorifies you in that sense. So, but that glorification is we accept with humility. That's all, because we give back. Anything, when you go to that water Ganga, you always give back. Put the water back there. Is it not? The same way, Krishna conscious movement, whatever Guru gives, we give back to him as a, what do you call that? Fees, a Guru Dakshina. So Guru Dakshina means when Prabhupada has done so much for us, so we give ourselves to Prabhupada's movement and expand this movement, that is enough for us. So that is the give and take business. That's all. But happiness in spirituality is 100%, and that's true. That is that actual bliss. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear? This is from the Zoom.
Yep. Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Devotees wanted to share something.
Yes.
They can share now. Ashokatma
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. This is Ashokatma Vasudeva Das
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Ashwath Narayana Prabhu, otherwise. Prabhu, one thing which touched me today is that, you have mentioned about ignorance is bliss. So most of the time we claim to be, devotees because of our attachment to this materialistic life. Even when we are planning to do the service also, we have a lot of reservations. This ignorance, actually sometimes, brings us the humility. So that we forget our qualifications, our status and other things, so which are coming in our way of doing the service, Prabhu. This one particular aspect which you have mentioned, I started contemplating so many ways. I want to come and do the service, but somewhere or the other, something is holding, probably because of this materialistic attachment, which is now I started contemplating as to, as fast as possible, let me attain this ignorance of materialistic life. Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai. Jai.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So thank you, devotees. So we're having a wonderful darshan also. So that's very nice. And we can end the session with Vaishnava pranams. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavadam ki jai. Jagannath Baldev Subharamaya ki jai. Gaur Sitanath Paramanande Hari Hari Bol. So I'll end the session now. Hare Krishna. Thank you.